Hello, everybody. The old is new, part 2, the ultimate sacrifice. We're switching over to the book of John today. The first part, I was going through Mark. I just like what John has to offer a little bit more. It has some of the details I like with the interaction between Jesus and Pilate in the book of John is a little more thought-provoking. It also includes the crown of thorns. I don't know if I'll get that far today. I think I'm going to continue just with the passion narrative in John. We'll just lay it down in John. We started with Mark. I guess we should make the point that each gospel has different details of the life and ministry of Jesus, so it's important to familiarize yourself with all of them because you get the broader picture by knowing all of them, or at least beginning to know all of them and becoming more familiar with all of them. So you see Jesus's actions and life more broadly, as opposed to just concentrating on Mark or John. Like, you need to know Matthew and Luke also. But for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna continue through the passion narrative in the book of John. Today I'm gonna start after Peter denied Jesus in the garden, or in the high court, by the high court, while I was listening to Jesus, the accusations of the high priest against Jesus. So we're gonna keep moving along, and we're gonna jump to where Jesus is before Pilate. For the sake of continuousness, or a smooth transition, I'm just gonna, where I stopped in Mark, I'm gonna pick back up immediately after in John. So I stopped in Mark in part 1 right after Peter denied Jesus, as far as I can remember. I'm certain of it. So today I'll start with John chapter 18 verse 28, and I'll put this in the notes. John chapter 18 verse 28, and we'll go through up until John chapter 19 verse 16, so like a chapter and a half. Alright, let's jump in. So this is Jesus before Pilate after he is accused by the high priest and the council. So John chapter 18 verse 28. Jesus before Pilate. Then they led Jesus from the house of Caiaphas to the praetorium. It was early. They themselves did not enter the praetorium, so that they might not be defiled, but might eat the Passover. So Pilate went out to them and said, "What accusation do you bring against this man?" They answered him, "If this man were not an evildoer, we would not have handed him over." Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and judge him by your own law." The Jews said to him, "It is not lawful for us to put any man to death." This was to fulfill the word which Jesus had spoken, to show by what death he was to die. I think it's important to remark that this is Passover. This is while the same time Jesus is going through his passion is the same time as that the Jewish festival, the Jewish memorization of Moses, God through Moses liberating the Hebrew slaves from Egypt. They're celebrating that memory at the same time Jesus is entering into his passion, which is pretty important because as Christians we celebrate Jesus being the true Passover lamb. It's a show we talked about earlier before, but just remember this is Passover time, which is like not a coincidence on God's part. So that's that. Let's keep going. This next section I want to break down a little further, but from that first part, let's just remember that this is Passover, and the Jews want Pilate to condemn Jesus to death. They want him to take over, and they're trying to manipulate the situation to where the Roman ruler is the one responsible for killing him, even though it's really what they want. It's their will. It's what they desire, but they want Pilate to do the dirty work. Okay, chapter 18, verse 33, continuing on, Jesus sentenced to death. Pilate entered the praetorium again and called Jesus, and he said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you say this of your own accord, or do others say it to you about me?" Pilate answered, "Am I a Jew? Your own nation and the chief priests have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingship is not of this world. If my kingship were of this world, my servants would fight, that I might not be handed over to the Jews, but my kingship is not from the world." Pilate said to him, "So you are a king?" Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I have come into the world, to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" So let's pause right there. A lot just happened there between Jesus and Pilate. Pilate's curious, wants to know, is this man guilty? Is he innocent? Is he a king? Is he not? Is he really the king of the Jews? So he asks him point blank, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus gives him the way he answered him in the way only he can, in parable-like form, not clearly saying, well, he says yes, he is, but on his terms, not on Pilate's terms or even the high priest's terms. Remember that the Jews were expecting a Messiah who was going to overthrow the governments that be, and they were expecting a military leader to overthrow the oppressive regime and reestablish the kingdom of Israel, the political entity, the kingdom of Israel. And Jesus didn't come to do that. He came to bring heaven to earth. He came to establish the kingdom of God on earth. He is the King of Kings. He's above all this political nonsense. And so remember, he's answering him in the way that the Son of God would answer him, not from Jewish expectations, false expectations of a political leader, but as the Son of God would answer him. So it's just interesting. "Am I a Jew? Your own nation and chief priests have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered him, "My kingship is not of this world." He's saying, I am a king, but not the way most people think. So, and then here, this is really what I want to talk about for this part, is when Jesus says, "You say that I'm a king, for this I was born, and for this I have come into the world, to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" Listen to how Pilate's like, wow, he's realizing he's in over his head here. He knows Jesus is of some importance, and he doesn't want to be responsible. He doesn't want the blood on his hands. He's looking for ways to acquit Jesus. You got to give Pilate a little credit for at least knowing what justice is and knowing he didn't deserve to die. But Pilate ends up sentencing him to death, basically to prevent an all-out riot. And he was responsible for the passivity, the passiveness of the Holy Land there as a Roman governor. He was responsible to keep the peace there, and he did not want a rebellion or a riot or anything like that. And so he was quelling the storm. He was trying to appease the powers that be, it would seem. So he's looking for ways to spare his life, but we know, it doesn't happen. But also this, what is truth? Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" Like, Pilate wants to know, what are you talking about? Like, what is... Jesus says, "He who hears my voice," or "I was born, and for this I have come into the world, to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice." If you pursue truth, you hear the voice of Jesus. And I have a feeling like Pilate was like, wow, like he's standing before divinity and he doesn't even realize it, asking God, what is truth? Asking the God who became man, what is truth? And he doesn't even know what he's saying. Jesus is truth itself, and that's what's going over Pilate's head. So let me continue on here. Let me read these last few sentences of the chapter of John, chapter 18. So after he had said this, he went out to the Jews again and told them, I find no crime in him, but you have a custom that I should release one man for you at the Passover. Will you have me release for you the King of the Jews? They cried out again, not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber. So we're going to pause here. You won't believe what I did. I paused the show to go check on the puppy and my wife, and I forgot to hit record again and came back and went on and on for another 20 minutes. And anyway, it's not important. But so, next episode, we're going to talk more about, let's see here. Leading up to the crucifixion, like what happened right before the crucifixion. So let's like I said, we're gonna stop there. I want to keep this one short. I just wanted to jump on here and say hi and get back into it. I've got to keep my rhythm going. Keep up the good work. Keep analyzing the text. Ask yourself these questions, these important questions. What is truth? Just Pilate asking Jesus, what is truth? It's just mind-boggling to be in front of Christ, and I almost want to use the word, the audacity. I think that'd be a good word to use. I mean, anyway. I hope you're well. I hope everything's good. I want to close with a prayer. Lord, thank you for this show. Thank you for the listeners. Thank you for all we experience in life that is from your hand, all the gifts you've given us. Even just to be thankful of the air we breathe, and just to be alive is more than we could ask. And just ask that you would bless our endeavors to come to know you more and become more and more like your son, Jesus. Amen. Try not to let too much time pass. It's to get back on and continue on with the passion. We're going to concentrate on John. So moving forward. So if you just want to stick with John, the Gospel of John for now, that's great. Best of luck to you as you are analyzing this stuff and considering what is said and what is written down about the life of Christ. I think it's important stuff, and keep up the good work. Godspeed.